The coffee was still warm. The tent was open. Car keys on the table. But the family of 4 camping here? They vanished between breakfast and 9 a.m., and nobody saw them leave. Search dogs picked up their scent immediately, followed it 200 yards into the forest, then stopped. All 4 trails ended at the exact same spot, and what investigators found there changed everything. June 14, 2019, Cascade Ridge Campground, Olympic National Park, Washington. It's a Friday morning, and campsite 17 is quiet, too quiet. At 9:47 a.m., Ranger Daniel Moss pulls up for a routine check. The Harmon family had checked in 2 days earlier. Tom Harmon, 42, his wife Rachel, 39, their kids, Lily, age 13, and Ben, age 9. Standard 3-night family camping trip. Nothing unusual on the paperwork, but what Moss sees stops him cold. 2 camping chairs face a portable table. On that table, 4 plates with half-eaten scrambled eggs, 4 forks, a pot of coffee, still faintly steaming. The tent behind the table is unzipped, flaps pushed back. Inside, sleeping bags are laid out neatly, clothes folded, toothbrushes by a water jug. Their car, a silver Honda CR-V, sits in the designated parking spot 10 feet away. Moss walks over, peers through the window. Tom's wallet is on the dashboard, Rachel's purse on the passenger seat. He calls out, "Harmon family? Anyone here?" Silence. Moss circles the site. Nothing looks disturbed. No signs of struggle. The fire pit has cold ash from the night before. A cooler sits closed near the tent. He opens it. Food inside, neatly packed, ice still solid. He radios it in. "We've got an anomaly at Site 17. Family of 4. No sign of them, but all their belongings are here." Within 30 minutes, 2 more rangers arrive. They expand the search, walking the nearby trails, calling out names. Other campers in adjacent sites are questioned. The couple in Site 16, Ed and Margaret Stoltz, say they heard the Harmons that morning, around 7:30 a.m. Normal breakfast sounds. Tom's voice saying something about checking the trail map. Kids laughing. Then, nothing unusual. The Stoltzes went for a hike themselves around 8 a.m. When they came back 2 hours later, Site 17 looked abandoned. Nobody saw the family leave. Nobody heard anything strange. By noon, the Olympic National Park search and rescue team is on site. Dogs are brought in. The lead handler, a woman named Carla Veneman, walks the bloodhounds through the campsite. They sniff the sleeping bags, the clothes, the chairs. Then the dogs do something handlers recognize instantly. They pick up the scent. All 4 of them, each assigned to a different family member, move in the same direction, into the forest, north of the campsite. The handlers follow. The dogs are confident, noses down, tails up. They weave between Douglas firs and western hemlock. The trail is faint here, mostly undergrowth and moss-covered ground. It's not an official path, just forest. 50 yards in, 100, 150. The dogs are locked on. Then, at roughly 200 yards from the campsite, all 4 dogs stop simultaneously. They circle, sniff the ground, whine, then sit. The handlers know what this means. The scent ends here. Carla crouches down, examines the spot. It's a small clearing, maybe 20 feet across, thick moss, scattered pine cones, a fallen log on the west side, but nothing else. No disturbed earth, no footprints leading away, no blood, no clothing, nothing. She looks at her fellow handlers. "All 4 trails end right here?" They nod. That's not normal. Scent doesn't just vanish. People don't just stop existing mid-forest. Even if they got into a vehicle, there would be a scent trail leading to wherever that vehicle was. Even if they were carried, the scent would continue in some direction. But here, 4 people, 4 scent trails, all ending at the exact same spot, in the middle of nowhere. Carla radios the command post. "We've got a termination point. No continuation. I need forensics out here." The search intensifies. By evening, over 60 personnel are combing the area. Helicopters with thermal imaging fly overhead. Ground teams move in grid patterns. Divers are called to check a nearby creek, even though it's shallow and miles from the termination point. Nothing. As the sun sets, investigators return to the campsite. They go through everything methodically. Tom's wallet contains $217 in cash, credit cards, his driver's license. Rachel's purse has her phone. Investigators power it on. Last activity, 7:52 a.m. A text to her sister in Portland. "Morning here is beautiful. Kids love it. Talk soon." Tom's phone is in the tent. Last activity, 8:14 a.m. He checked the weather app. So between 8:14 a.m. and 9:47 a.m., 4 people walked into the forest and disappeared. If you're hooked on stories like this, Hit that like button, because what happens next gets even stranger. The forensics team arrives at the termination point the next morning. They mark off the area, photograph everything, collect soil samples, examine the moss for trace evidence. They bring in ground-penetrating radar to check if anything is buried. Nothing. But one investigator, a man named Stuart Liang, notices something odd. The fallen log on the west side of the clearing. It's old, rotten in places, but on the top surface, there are 4 distinct marks, smooth, almost polished, like something or someone sat there. Liang takes samples, sends them to the lab. 3 days into the search, the story hits national news. The CNN van arrives first, then NBC, Fox News. By day 4, there are 12 media trucks parked outside the Olympic National Park headquarters. Reporters stand in front of cameras, the forest behind them, telling the world about the family that vanished from their breakfast table. Tom's brother, Michael Harmon, flies in from Boston. He's a lawyer, sharp, controlled, but when he sees the campsite, still cordoned off with yellow tape, he breaks down. He tells investigators his brother called him 2 days before the trip, excited, said the kids needed this, a break from screens, from the city, just nature and family time. Tom was a planner, Michael says. He wouldn't just wander off. He had the whole weekend mapped out, every trail, every meal. Rachel's mother, Patricia Keene, arrives from Sacramento. She's 71, frail. She sits in the ranger station and tells anyone who'll listen that Rachel texted her every morning of the trip, until that Friday, the morning they disappeared. Patricia keeps checking her phone, waiting for a message that will never come. The FBI sets up a command center in Forks, the nearest town. Special Agent Sarah Drennan takes lead. She's worked missing persons cases for 15 years. Abductions, runaways, lost hikers. She's seen it all, but this one bothers her. There's no motive, she tells her team. No ransom demand, no custody dispute, no financial crisis. This family had zero reason to disappear voluntarily. Drennan orders a full digital sweep. Tom's computer is seized from their Seattle home. His browser history, emails, work files, nothing suspicious. He was working on a project for Microsoft. Performance reviews were excellent. No conflict. Rachel's school provides her employment records. Loved by students, respected by colleagues. No complaints. No red flags. The FBI interviews Tom's co-workers, 47 people. All say the same thing. Tom was dependable, kind, talked about his family constantly, showed pictures of his kids. Nobody can imagine him involved in anything sinister. Rachel's friends are interviewed. Her book club, her yoga class, the parents from Lily's school. Everyone describes Rachel the same way. Warm, organized, devoted mother. Lily's social media is examined. Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, normal teenage stuff, photos with friends, school events, no concerning interactions, no secret accounts. Ben's too young for social media. His iPad is checked. Games, educational app, videos of dinosaurs, nothing. Drennan expands the search. She looks into sex offenders within a 100-mile radius of the park. 17 names. Each one is tracked down. Alibis are verified. None were near the park that weekend. She considers abduction. But how? The campsite was in a populated area. 43 other groups camping nearby. Someone would have seen a struggle, heard screaming. The Harmon's car was still there, so the abductor didn't drive them out. Carried 4 people through the forest? Impossible without being noticed. On day 7, a psychic calls the tip line, says she's had a vision. The family is underground, in darkness, but alive. The FBI doesn't usually entertain psychics, but Drennan is desperate. She writes down the details. Underground, darkness. The well hasn't been discovered yet. The psychic's words sit in a file, unactionable. The media picks up every angle. True crime podcasts dissect the case. Reddit threads explode with theories. Some say the family staged it, witness protection. Some say it's a cult abduction. Some say Bigfoot. The theories get wilder. On day 9, a volunteer searcher finds a piece of torn fabric on a tree branch 2 miles west of the campsite. It's tested. The DNA doesn't match any of the Harmons. It's from a deer, but the media reports it anyway. New evidence found. The headline gives families false hope. Michael Harmon holds a press conference. He's exhausted, eyes red. He pleads directly into the cameras. If someone has them, please, just let them go. We'll pay anything. No questions asked. Patricia Keene sits beside him. She can barely speak. Just holds a photo of Rachel and the kids, tears streaming down her face. The searches continue. Week 2. Week 3. The grid expands to 15 square miles. Caves are explored. Rivers are dragged. Helicopters fly patterns every day. Thermal imaging. Nothing. Tom's phone records are analyzed. The last ping was from a tower near the campground at 8:14 a.m., then nothing. Rachel's phone, the same. Both devices went dark simultaneously. Either they were turned off, or they lost signal, or something else. On day 18, the well is discovered. When the divers pull up Ben's backpack, Patricia Keene collapses. She's hospitalized for exhaustion. The media swarms. Breakthrough in Harmon case. But when the well yields no bodies, just items, the story takes a darker turn. Analysts on cable news speculate. Were the belongings planted? Is this a crime scene or a diversion? Drennan doesn't know, but she knows one thing. This case isn't going to be solved quickly. Maybe not ever. By week 6, the active search is scaled down. The FBI keeps the case open. Billboards go up across Washington and Oregon. Missing Harmon family. Their faces stare out from highway signs. Tips still come in. Hundreds, then dozens, then a trickle. Michael Harmon hires a private investigator, a former Seattle PD detective named Russ Gaffney. Gaffney spends 3 months re-interviewing witnesses, re-walking the trails. He finds nothing new. On the 6-month anniversary of the disappearance, a vigil is held in Seattle. 2,000 people attend. Candles, songs, prayers. Tom's co-workers set up a scholarship fund in Lily's name. Rachel's students write letters to her, hoping she'll somehow read them. But deep down, most people believe the family is dead, lost to the wilderness, bodies never to be recovered. Only Monica refuses to accept it. She keeps searching. Every weekend, she drives to Olympic National Park, walks the trails, talks to rangers, leaves flyers in visitor centers. She starts a blog, Bring the Harmons Home, posts update theories. She connects with other families of missing persons. They share advice, resources, hope. Years pass. The case grows cold, but it never closes. The Harmon family's faces are everywhere. Tom, a software engineer from Seattle. Rachel, a middle school teacher. Lily, an honor student. Ben, a kid who loved dinosaurs. Their families plead on camera. Rachel's sister Monica sobs through an interview. They were just camping, just a normal family trip. Where are they? The FBI joins the investigation. They look into Tom and Rachel's background, financials, relationships, any sign of trouble. Nothing. No debt, no affairs, no enemies. By all accounts, they were happy, stable. Investigators interview everyone who was at the campground that weekend. 43 groups, families, couples, solo hikers. Everyone says the same thing. Didn't see anything unusual. Didn't hear anything strange. One camper, a man named Rick Tomlinson, mentions he saw someone on the trails the morning the Harmons disappeared. Early, maybe 6:30 a.m., a person in dark clothing, moving quickly through the trees off trail. But Rick can't give a detailed description, just a glimpse. Could have been a hiker, could have been a ranger, could have been nothing. That lead goes nowhere. Weeks pass. The search area expands to 10 square miles. Nothing. Then, the lab results come back on the samples from the fallen log. The smooth mark. They contain traces of human skin cells. DNA is extracted, tested. It matches all 4 members of the Harmon family, so they were there. At that spot, they sat on that log. And then what? Investigators return to the clearing. They look at the log again. Stuart Liang sits on it, imagines the family sitting together. Why would they stop here? It's not a viewpoint, not a landmark, just a random spot in the forest. He looks around. The clearing is unremarkable. Trees on all sides, no trails leading in or out except the faint path they walked from the campsite. He stands, walks the perimeter. Then he sees something he missed before. On the north side of the clearing, partially hidden by ferns, there's a small depression in the ground, circular, maybe 3 feet across. He kneels down, pushes the ferns aside. It's an old stone well, or what remains of one. The opening is mostly collapsed, filled with dirt and debris, but there's a gap, maybe 8 inches wide. He shines his flashlight into it. Darkness. He can't see the bottom. He drops a small rock in. Counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. Then a faint splash. Deep. The well is immediately excavated. It takes 2 days. Heavy equipment is brought in. Carefully, layer by layer, they remove the debris. Dirt, rock, rotten wood, old roots. At 20 feet down, they find water. The well is flooded. Divers are called in. They descend. The well shaft is narrow, cold. The water is murky. Visibility near zero. They use lights and cameras, feel their way down. At 35 feet, one of the divers, a man named Jackson Cole, feels something solid, not rock, something else. He signals to the surface, brings up a retrieval bag. Inside is a backpack, small, child-sized, blue with a dinosaur patch. Ben's backpack. The dive continues. Over the next 6 hours, they pull up more items. A pink hoodie, Lily's, a woman's hiking boot, a man's wristwatch. The band broken, but no bodies. The well is fully explored. It goes down 42 feet. The bottom is silt and stone. There's a small horizontal tunnel, maybe 2 feet wide, leading off to the east. The divers can't fit through it. A camera is sent in. It shows the tunnel continues for at least 20 feet before the feed cuts out. Investigators are baffled. How did the family's belongings end up in a collapsed well? Did they fall in? But the opening was only 8 inches wide. A child couldn't fit through that. An adult definitely couldn't. And if they fell in, where are their bodies? The case stalls. Months pass. The FBI keeps it open, but leads dry up. The well is sealed. The campsite is closed to the public. The Harmon family is declared missing, presumed dead, though no bodies are recovered. Their families hold a memorial service in Seattle. Monica talks about Rachel's love for her kids, Tom's terrible camping jokes, Lily's dream of becoming a marine biologist, Ben's dinosaur collection. But privately, she tells investigators she doesn't believe they're dead. She can't explain why, just a feeling. 3 years pass. October 2022. A hiker named Alan Croft is exploring an unmapped area about 6 miles east of Cascade Ridge Campground. He's off trail, using GPS, documenting old mining sites for a historical survey. The area is remote, thick forest, no cell service. He's walking along a dry creek bed when he sees something that doesn't belong, a piece of fabric, faded, stuck between 2 rocks. He pulls it out. It's a child's shirt, small, rotten in places, but there's still color, blue, and a logo, a cartoon dinosaur. Alan's stomach drops. He's heard about the Harmon case. Everyone in the Pacific Northwest has. He marks the GPS coordinates, hikes out, calls the authorities. Rangers arrive the next day. They find the creek bed, follow it upstream. A quarter-mile up, the creek bed widens into a small ravine. The walls are steep, rocky, and at the base, partially hidden by overgrown bushes, there's an opening. A cave, not a natural cave, it's man-made. Old. The entrance is shored up with rotting timber, a mine shaft. The team enters carefully, lights on. The tunnel is narrow, slopes downward. The air is damp, cold. They move slowly. 50 feet in, the tunnel opens into a larger chamber, and there, against the far wall, are 4 figures: Tom, Rachel, Lily, Ben, alive. The rescue is immediate. Medics rush in. The family is emaciated, dehydrated, barely conscious, but alive. They're airlifted to a hospital in Seattle. The helicopter lands on the roof of Harborview Medical Center at 4:37 p.m. The trauma team is ready. 4 gurneys, 4 lines, oxygen masks. The Harmons are moved quickly, efficiently. Tom is semi-conscious. Rachel is awake but non-responsive. Lily is crying. Ben is unconscious. Dr. Elaine Sutter, the lead physician, examines them one by one. Severe dehydration, malnutrition, muscle atrophy, skin infections, vitamin deficiencies, but alive. Against all odds, alive. Tom is placed in ICU. His heart rate is erratic. Kidneys are on the edge of failure. They pump him with fluids, antibiotics, electrolytes, monitor him closely. By midnight, he stabilizes. Rachel is in better shape physically, but mentally, she's somewhere else. She stares at the ceiling, doesn't respond to questions. A psychiatrist, Dr. Nina Holbrook, is called in. She sits beside Rachel, speaks softly. "You're safe now. You're in a hospital. Your family is here." Rachel blinks, turns her head slowly, looks at Dr. Holbrook, and whispers, "How long? How long what? How long were we gone?" Dr. Holbrook hesitates. 3 years. Rachel closes her eyes. A tear rolls down her cheek. It felt like forever. Lily is treated for dehydration and minor infections. Physically, she'll recover, but the trauma is visible. She won't let go of the nurse's hand, keeps asking if they're really out, if this is real. The nurse reassures her, over and over. Ben is the most critical. His body is frail. 9 years old, but he looks sick, barely 50 pounds. They intubate him. His lungs are weak, possible pneumonia from the damp mine air. For 2 days, it's uncertain if he'll make it. But on day 3, he opens his eyes, sees his mother sitting beside him, tries to smile. The hospital locks down the floor. No media, no visitors except immediate family. Michael Harmon arrives, sees his brother in the ICU bed, breaks down, grabs Tom's hand. "You made it, you stubborn bastard. You made it." Tom's voice is barely a whisper. "Is everyone okay?" "Everyone's alive," Michael says. "That's all that matters." Patricia Keene arrives the next day, sees Rachel, holds her daughter, sobs into her shoulder. Rachel holds her back, says nothing, just holds her. Monica is there too. She sits with Lily, braids her hair, tells her about the 3 years, how they never stopped looking, how the whole world wanted them home. Lily listens, tries to process, but it doesn't feel real. On day 4, Special Agent Drennan arrives. She needs to interview them, gently, but it's necessary. She starts with Tom. He's awake, coherent, tells her everything he remembers. The fall, the tunnel, the mine, the months underground. Drennan takes notes, asks careful questions. Did you see anyone else in the mine? No. Hear anything unusual? Tom hesitates. Sounds. Sometimes. We thought it was machinery. Voices? The kids said they heard voices. I didn't. Drennan interviews Rachel next. Gets the same story. Then Lily. Then, when Ben is strong enough, him. The accounts match, almost perfectly, which either means it's true or they've coordinated. Drennan doesn't think they coordinated. The trauma is too real, but the timeline bothers her. She consults with Dr. Sutter. Is it possible they were down there for 3 years? Dr. Sutter pulls up the medical files. Based on their physical condition? Number. Maybe 6 months. 8 at most, not 3 years. Could they be wrong about the time? In total darkness? Absolutely. Humans lose time perception. Days blur. Week feel like month. Drennan files her report. Concludes the family was in the mine for approximately 6 months, not 3 years, but she notes the discrepancy and the mystery of how they survived even that long. The media gets wind of the story on day 5. It explodes. Every major outlet, international coverage, miracle rescue, family survives underground. The hospital is surrounded by news vans. Reporters try to bribe staff for photos, for statements. Michael Harmon holds a brief press conference, thanks the rescue teams, the medical staff, asks for privacy, but he knows privacy is impossible now. Inside the hospital, the Harmons start the long process of recovery, physical therapy, nutritional rehabilitation, psychological counseling. Dr. Holbrook works with them daily. PTSD is certain. The question is, how severe? Tom has nightmares, wakes up screaming, thinks he's back in the mine. Nurses have to calm him down, remind him where he is. Rachel barely sleeps. When she does, she dreams of darkness, of water, of drowning. Lily withdraws, won't talk to the counselors, won't talk to her family, just lies in bed, stares at the wall. Ben adapts fastest, maybe because he's young, or maybe because something broke in him down there. He eats, smiles, plays with toys the nurses bring, but there's something different in his eyes, something distant. After 3 weeks, the family is discharged. They move into a hotel temporarily. Their Seattle home is swarmed by media. They can't go back, not yet. Michael arranges for them to stay with friends in Spokane, quiet, private, away from the cameras. They try to resume normal life. Tom works from home. Rachel doesn't return to teaching. Not yet, maybe not ever. Lily enrolls in online school, can't face a classroom. Ben starts therapy twice a week. Monica visits often, brings groceries, sits with Rachel, doesn't push, just listens when Rachel wants to talk, which isn't often. One evening, 6 weeks after the rescue, Rachel tells Monica something. I don't think we were down there for 3 years. Monica looks at her. What do you mean? The doctors say 6 months, maybe less, but it felt like years. How is that possible? Trauma, Monica says. It warps time. Rachel shakes her head. It's more than that. Sometimes in the mine, I felt like we were somewhere else, not just underground, somewhere outside time. Monica doesn't know what to say. Rachel continues. And the voices. Lily and Ben heard them. I heard them too, but I didn't tell anyone. I thought I was going crazy. What did they say? I don't know. It wasn't English, or any language I know, but it felt old, like it was coming from the walls themselves. Monica files this away, adds it to her box of evidence, the box she'll keep in her attic, the box that'll haunt her for years. By month 3, the family decides to move, leave Washington. Too many memories, too much media attention. They choose a small town in Montana. New start, new names almost. They keep Harmon, but Tom changes his first name legally, becomes James. Rachel becomes Ellen. The kids keep theirs but change schools. New identities. The world moves on. The story fades from headlines, becomes a footnote, a weird case, unexplained, but not important anymore. But for the Harmons, it never ends. Every night, they lock their doors twice, check the windows, leave lights on, because darkness isn't just darkness anymore. It's the mine, it's the water, it's the voices, and sometimes, late at night, Lily sits up in bed, listens, and swears she can still hear them. The whispers, in a language she doesn't understand. But now, they're not coming from a mine. They're coming from her closet, her walls, the spaces between. She never tells anyone, because who would believe her? They're home. They're safe. The nightmare is over. Except it's not. The media explodes. The story is everywhere. The Harmon family, missing for 3 years, found alive in an abandoned mine. But the questions. Oh, the questions. How did they survive? How did they get there? Why didn't they leave? At first, the family can't speak. They're too weak, too traumatized. It takes weeks of recovery before investigators can interview them, and when they finally do, the story they tell is almost impossible to believe. Tom speaks first. His voice is hoarse. He sits in a hospital bed, Rachel beside him, holding his hand. He says they remember the morning at the campsite, breakfast. The kids were excited about exploring a new trail. Around 8:30 a.m., they decided to take a short walk just to stretch their legs. They didn't go far, just into the trees, north of the campsite. They found the clearing. Thought it was a nice spot to rest, sat on the log. Then Tom heard something, a sound, low, rhythmic, like machinery. He stood up, tried to locate it. It seemed to be coming from the ground. Ben wandered toward the ferns, found the well opening, called out, "Dad, look at this." Tom walked over, looked down into the gap, shined his phone's flashlight. That's when the ground gave way. Not just under Tom, under all of them. The entire area around the well, the collapsed stone structure beneath the moss. It just crumbled. They fell. Tom remembers the impact. Cold water, darkness, panic. He surfaced, gasped, called out for his family. Heard them. Rachel, Lily, Ben, all in the water. They swam, found each other. The well was flooded. They treaded water, looked up. The opening was far above them, too far to climb. The walls were slick, stone. But then Tom felt a current, water moving. He dove down, felt along the wall, found the tunnel. They didn't have a choice. They swam through it. It was terrifying, narrow, pitch black, but the current pulled them, and after maybe 30 seconds, they surfaced in another chamber. The first night is the worst. They have no light, no sense of direction. The chamber they surfaced in is maybe 20 feet across, stone floor, dripping water echoing from somewhere. Ben won't stop shaking. His teeth chatter. Rachel pulls him close, wraps him in her wet shirt. It doesn't help. Tom tries to stay calm, uses his phone before the battery dies to see as much as he can. The chamber has 3 passages leading out. He picks one. They follow it, holding hands, moving slowly. The passage slopes down, gets narrower. Tom's hand touches a wall, then another. Dead end. They turn back, try the second passage. This one opens into a larger space. Tom's phone dies. The light blinks out. Lily screams. The darkness is absolute. Not the darkness of a room at night. The darkness of being buried alive. Tom talks them through it. We're okay. We're together. We just need to find a way out. But his voice shakes, and Rachel knows they're not okay. They sleep that first night huddled together on cold stone. Nobody actually sleeps. They just lie there, waiting for light that won't come. Day 2, they explore by touch. Tom leads. Rachel follows with Lily. Ben clings to Rachel's back. They feel along walls, count steps, try to map the mine in their heads, but it's impossible. The passages twist, branch, loop back on themselves. Tom finds a trickle of water running down a wall. He cups his hands, tastes it. It's cold, metallic, but drinkable. They all drink. It's the only good thing that happens that day. Day 3. Hunger sets in. Ben cries, says his stomach hurts. Rachel has nothing to give him. Tom searches the walls, finds moss, scrapes it off. They eat it. It's bitter, slimy. Lily gags, but they force it down. That night, Rachel asks Tom the question they're all thinking. Are we going to die here? Tom doesn't answer right away. Then he says, no, we're going to find a way out. But he doesn't believe it, and Rachel can tell. By day 5, they've established a routine. Tom explores for 2 hours, returns, describes what he found. They rest, drink from the trickle, eat moss if they can stomach it, sleep in shifts. Someone always stays awake, listening, for sounds, for changes in airflow, for anything that might mean a way out. Lily starts counting days, uses a sharp rock to scratch marks on the wall, 1 mark per sleep cycle. She doesn't know if it's accurate. Time feels broken, but it gives her something to focus on. Ben talks about home, his room, his toys, his school. He describes his favorite teacher, Miss Alvarez, and how she let him bring his dinosaur collection for show and tell. Rachel listens, smiles, pretends they'll be back there soon. Week 2. The hunger is constant. Tom finds a section of the mine where roots push through cracks in the ceiling. He pulls them. They're thin, fibrous, taste like dirt, but they're food. The family eats them slowly. Rationing. Rachel's wedding ring slips off her finger. She's lost weight. They all have. She catches it before it falls. puts it in her pocket, holds it sometimes, a reminder of the life they had. Week 3. Tom finds a chamber with beetles, dozens of them, crawling on the walls. He hesitates, then catches one, crushes it, eats it. It's protein. He catches more, brings them back. Lily refuses at first, but hunger wins. They all eat beetles. Ben throws up the first time, but the second time, he keeps it down. Week 4. Lily stops scratching marks on the wall, says she doesn't see the point. Rachel makes her start again. We need to know. When we get out, people will ask how long we were down here. Lily says, what if we don't get out? Rachel doesn't have an answer. Month 2. Tom finds a new passage. It feels different. The air is cooler, moving. He follows it, crawls through a section so narrow his shoulders scrape the walls. On the other side, there's light, faint, gray, coming from a crack far above. He calls the family. They come, stand under the crack, look up. It's maybe 40 feet high, unreachable, but it's light, real light. For the first time in weeks, they see each other's faces. They're gaunt, filthy, eyes sunken, but alive. They try to climb. Tom boosts Rachel. She gets 10 feet up. The rock crumbles. She falls, twists her ankle. Tom checks it. It's swollen, not broken, but painful. They give up on climbing. That night, they sit under the crack. Watch the light fade as the sun sets somewhere above. It's the closest they've felt to the outside world. They talk about what they'll do when they get out. Tom says he's taking the family to Hawaii. Beach vacation. No forest. Rachel says she wants a cheeseburger. A real one. With fries and a milkshake. Lily says she just wants to see her friends. Ben says he wants to hug his dog. They don't have a dog, but nobody corrects him. Month 3. Rachel's ankle heals, but her spirit is breaking. She stops talking as much, sits for hours, staring at nothing. Tom tries to comfort her, but he's breaking too. He's lost maybe 40 pounds. His ribs show through his skin. His hands shake. Lily takes over some of Tom's exploration duties. She's smaller, can fit through tighter spaces. She finds a chamber with a small pool. The water is clearer than the trickle. They move their camp there. It becomes home. Month 4. Ben stops asking when they're going home. He adapts faster than the rest, learns to navigate by sound, by touch. He finds the beetles, catches them efficiently, becomes the family's primary hunter. Tom watches his son, feels pride and heartbreak. A 9-year-old shouldn't have to hunt beetles in the dark, but Ben does it without complaining. Month 5. They hear sounds sometimes, distant, rumbling, like machinery, or thunder, they can't tell. Tom follows the sounds. Spends hours trying to locate the source, but the mind plays trick. Acoustics bounce. He never finds the source. One night, Lily hears something else. Voices, faint, whispering. She tells Tom. He listens, hears nothing, says she's imagining it, but Ben says he hears them too. Whispers, in a language he doesn't understand. Rachel says it's echoes, their own voices bouncing back, but Lily doesn't believe her. Month 6. Tom finds a new section. Deep. The air is warmer here. Strange. The walls have carvings. He feels them. Geometric shape, lines, patterns. He doesn't know what they mean, but someone was here, long ago. That means there's a way in, and a way out. He explores further, finds more carvings, and then, in a small alcove, he finds something else. A skeleton. Human. Ancient. Clothes rotted away. Bones brittle. Tom doesn't tell the family. Not yet. He doesn't want them to lose hope, but he knows. People have died in this mine, and they might too. He returns to the chamber with the light, sits under the crack, looks up, and for the first time, he prays. Not to God, not to anyone specific, just out loud. Into the darkness. Please, if anyone can hear this, help us. Nobody answers. But the next day, he finds a new passage, one he missed before. It slopes upward. The air is fresh. He follows it. It goes on for 50 yards, then opens into another chamber, and there, on the far side, he sees it. A faint glow, not from above, from ahead. He runs back, gets the family. They follow him, move faster than they have in months, through the passage, into the chamber, and there it is, daylight, coming through a gap in the rock. They rush toward it, squeeze through, and emerge into the dry creek bed, the same one Alan Croft will walk down 3 years later. But when the Harmons emerge, there's no one there, just forest, and mountains, and sky. Except they're too weak to walk. Tom tries, collapses after 50 yards. Rachel can't carry Ben. Lily can't carry herself. They crawl back into the cave, into the chamber, and wait, hoping someone will come. Days pass. Maybe a week. They drink from a puddle near the entrance, eat grass, bugs, anything, but nobody comes. This part of the forest is too remote. No trails, no hikers. Eventually, they're too weak to move. They just lie there, in the chamber, near the entrance, waiting. And that's where Alan finds them, 3 years after they disappeared, or 6 months, or however long it really was, because time, in the dark, doesn't work the same way. This one had air, space, and a faint light coming from a crack in the rock above. They climbed out of the water, collapsed, cough, Ben was crying. Rachel held him. Tom explored the chamber, realized it was part of the old mine. The tunnel they'd swam through connected the flooded well to this place. They tried to find a way out, followed the mine shaft, but it was a maze, collapsed sections, dead ends, and they had no light except Tom's phone, which died after an hour. They got lost, days blurred. They found a small underground stream, drank from it, found patches of moss, lichen, ate it, even though it made them sick. They huddled together for warmth, talked to stay sane. Tom says they tried to find the way out every day, felt along walls, followed air currents, but the mine was massive and they were weak. Weeks turned into months. They lost track of time. The darkness was constant. They stopped talking as much, conserved energy, slept in shifts. Lily kept a mental calendar, scratched marks on the wall with a rock, counted days, but eventually, even she lost track. Rachel says the hardest part was the hope. Every time they thought they found a passage, it led nowhere. Every time they heard a sound, they screamed for help, but nobody came. They survived on water and whatever they could find. Insects, roots growing through crack. It was enough to keep them alive, barely. And then one day they saw light, real light, far down a passage they hadn't tried before. They followed it, crawled through a narrow section, emerged into the chamber where Alan Croft found them. But by then, they were too weak to move, too weak to call out. They just waited and waited until someone finally came. If you're still watching, subscribe now, because the final twist is something nobody expected. The story the Harmon family tells is verified as much as possible. The well shaft, the tunnel, the flooded connection to the mine. It all checks out physically. Engineers map the entire system, confirm it's possible, but there are problems. First, the scent dogs. Why did all 4 trails end at the clearing? If the family fell through the ground, the scent should have continued down into the well. Dogs can track scent through water, through underground passages, but the handlers insist the trails ended at the surface, nothing below. Second, the timeline. The family says they were in the mine for 3 years, but medical exams show something strange. Their muscle atrophy, their bone density. It's consistent with maybe 6 months of severe malnutrition, not 3 years. And third, the items pulled from the well. Ben's backpack, Lily's hoodie, Rachel's boot, Tom's watch. The family doesn't remember losing those items in the well. They say they were wearing them when they fell, should have had them in the mine. So how did they end up in the water? Investigators re-interview the family, separately this time. The stories stay consistent, but psychologists note something: trauma, deep trauma, the kind that fragments memory. Is it possible the family's perception of time is wrong? That their ordeal wasn't 3 years but much shorter? Or is it possible something else happened, something they can't or won't remember? Lily, now 16, tells a psychologist something she didn't tell the investigators. She says there were moments in the mine when she heard voices, not her family's voices, others, whispering. She couldn't understand the words. She thought she was hallucinating. But Ben says he heard them too. Tom and Rachel deny it, say the kids were delirious. But when investigators go back to the mine, they find something strange. In one of the deeper chambers, there are markings on the wall, carved, old. Not from the mining era, older. Symbols, geometric patterns, and words in a language nobody recognizes. A linguist is brought in. She studies the carvings, says they resemble proto-languages from indigenous cultures in the region, thousands of years old. But what they mean, she can't say. The case is officially closed. The Harmon family is alive. That's what matters. The FBI files it as a wilderness survival incident. Unusual, but explainable. The media moves on. The family moves on. They relocate to a different state, try to rebuild their lives. But Monica, Rachel's sister, keeps a box of evidence in her attic: photos of the carvings, maps of the mine, transcripts of Lily and Ben's statements about the voices. She doesn't believe the official story. She thinks something else happened in that mine, something the family can't remember, or something they're too afraid to talk about. And late at night, when she can't sleep, she looks at one photo in particular, a close-up of the symbols on the wall, because near the bottom, partially worn away, there's a date carved into the stone, crude, barely visible, but she can make it out. It's not an old date. It's not from thousands of years ago. The date is from 1998, and beneath it, 3 words in English: they came back. The Harmon family survived. They're home. They're together. But the question of what really happened in that mine, and who carved that message 24 years before they disappeared, remains unanswered. Some mysteries get solved, others just get deeper. If this story kept you watching until the end, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe for more cases that defy explanation, because the wilderness keeps its secrets, but every now and then, it lets one slip, and when it does, we'll be here to tell it.